Hello YouTube, Nathan Dewey here doing a introduction video to a new project I'll be doing on the side. This is a restoration of a modded Alpha Beast. Traditionally, when a production knife is modded by a maker and needs some more work done on it, normally it just goes back to the maker that modded it. But in this case, I have been offered the opportunity to fix it because the maker in question no longer makes knives for various reasons. I'm sure a few of my subscribers probably know where this knife came from and the maker associated with it. If you know, you know, and if you don't worry about it. It's pretty much old news at this point. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm just here to appraise the damage and see what I can do with it. Looking over it, I could really only find a few practical, objective, and legal problems, I'll address those later, with the knife. So it's actually in better shape than I thought it would be. Other than it being beat up, this is still salvageable. So first problem. Number one, the handle slabs are kind of mixed up. You can tell by the holes here and here. These two panels are supposed to be the bite handle. As they are right now, you cannot put a latch on there, so one of the first things I do after I take it apart is switch those around, and I will likely be building a new latch for it. Number two, let's see if I can get this in focus. The second problem I found with this knife, and it is technically a legal one, is the marking right there. Not sure if you can see that very well, but it is right there. And for those who do not know, Blade Runner Systems, the company that makes the Alpha Beast, is a trademark company. BRS is a trademark name. It's not just some arbitrary thing that Ed and Lawrence, came up with and thought it'd be cool to put on their knife. No, this is a trademark, which means technically this is a legal infringement, and they could make a problem about it if they wanted to. But as it is, I have been given the task of removing it, and yeah, no need for further discussion on that. If you mod your knives, mod your Alpha Beast, just be aware that it is not officially a mutant unless Blade Runner Systems authorizes it as such. And if you think about putting your own kind of brand or whatever on it, don't do this. Just don't. Okay. Pivots. Now, believe it or not, some people thought that the bushing system on these knives was a little too darn troublesome. Mostly I think it was a result of people just not being familiar with bushings, but some of it is valid. Number one, the ordinary Alpha Beast has a 1/8 pivots to accommodate a 3/16 bushing, and those 1/8 pivots have a 256 thread screw. Originally they had like a T6 head, which they do work, but they're not traditionally known for being very strong or sturdy when you're talking about a pivot. They did eventually upgrade it to a T8, which is better, but if you crank a little too hard, the head can snap off. I've had that happen on a couple of my own knives where I've used the T8 256 thread screw. So easiest way to avoid that is just you don't put all your strength into the pivot. You just kind of gauge the tension. So about that screws. Also the bushings. I believe they have officially switched from phosphorus bronze to stainless steel bushings, which is a very good idea. The problem with phosphorus bronze bushings, even though they are smoother technically with the self-lubricating properties, they are a softer metal. So to the people that really just took their screwdriver and just cranked down, sometimes what would happen is kind of a squish or mushroom effect, which made the bushings shorter, so it didn't have that free-flowing action. And also, because it mushroomed, it kind of attached itself to the washers, and then you would have to pry off the washers and then just completely replace the bushings. So a little bit problematic, but it could have been avoided if the people that own these knives just, you know, eased up on the, you know, the He-Man strength. You know, you don't, they're tiny pivots, guys. And another thing, also, people over tightening it, and also people leaving these knives too loose. The way this bushing system was set up is that it's the entire thickness of the channel, and then the bushings kind of sit through them. Now there have been people, because they're so used to like the slop of like a 42 or something like that, that it would get too loose and like the washer would kind of skip out of track, and then it would go, oh wait, this is way too loose, and then you'd retightening it, and because the washer is not where it's supposed to be, it feels like it's preset again, but it's way too loose, so you get even more play, and then you have to, if you don't catch it, you can just wreck the washers and wreck the bushings. So people either keeping the knife too tight or keeping the knife too loose. So not completely unfounded, but I do believe that a big part of the reason why people felt the need to put in new pivots on these with just the washers is more familiarity than actual making a knife flip better or taste. If you like the action of an Alpha Beast, you'll like the action of an Alpha Beast. If you prefer a 42, then you're just better off going with a 42, in my opinion. So, something to consider. Things I'll be doing it to this. Definitely a refinishing. Thankfully, all these screw heads are not so stripped that I can't remove them. So I thought that was going to be a problem, but that's a good surprise. So before I even touch this thing, I'm going to let this soak in WD-40 for about a day, and then degrease it with lighter fluid, and then break it down, and then look into resizing these little screws here to a 7/64 pivot that I can just slide in there with completely new hardware. I might be able to save the female ends of these, but we'll just have to see depending on the thread. These heads are definitely going to go, and replace the tang pins because for some reason you shaved them a little bit too short. So yeah, other than that, yeah, that's going to be my Alpha Beast mod restoration. I'll try to make updates as soon as I can, and thanks for watching. Take care.